Hello, this is Mr. Tyson again. We're going to do the 3-6 concept, interpreting graphs. Oftentimes in the newspaper, in articles, in your books, you see graphs. We have to be able to tell what these graphs are talking about. Okay, so let's look at this one here. We have Antonio and Juan on a 4-mile bike race. The graph below shows the distance of each racer in miles as a function of time in minutes. Okay, so you'll notice here we've got this graph. And the time is on the bottom. And it looks like if you look, that's 6, 7, 8, 9. So we don't label each vertical line, but we do it by every 3. Okay, so this 15 means 15 minutes out. You look on the y-axis here, the vertical axis, and you'll see its distance in terms of miles. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That means miles. Okay, so if we look at this graph, we have this looks like Juan. I think this is Juan. Juan is right there. Okay, so if we look at this, Juan finishes the 4-mile race in this point right there. Okay, so Juan equals, what point would that be? I think that would be 13, 12, 13, 14, 15. So Juan equals 13 minutes. Okay, then if I look at Antonio here, if you look at here, Antonio finishes the race right here. And that looks to be 15 minutes. What's his name? Antonio? Antonio equals 15 minutes. So the question is, who won the race? Who had the fastest time in this race? And the answer would be Juan, because he only took 13 minutes. So Antonio took 2 more minutes to get to that point. Okay, so let's look at what else is going on here. Imagine you were watching the race and had to announce it over the radio. I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger here. Okay, imagine you're watching the race and had to announce it over the radio. Write a story to describe the race. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. Again, this one is Juan. Okay, so let's look at Juan. Juan kind of goes at what looks like kind of a smooth curve here. Okay, that tells me that Juan is kind of biking the same speed each time, or for every 7 minutes, he's kind of going the same speed. Okay, Antonio here had something happen, right? So in the 3-minute mark, okay, so let's look at this 3-minute mark here. Juan had only gone a half a mile, and Antonio had gone 1 mile. So at that point right there, Antonio, he's at 1 mile. He's actually winning the race. Okay, he's winning the race. At mile 5, we'll notice that Juan has gone to 1 mile, and Antonio has gone to 2 miles. So at the 2-mile mark, Antonio is still winning the race. Let's see what's going on here. After 1 mile, I'm sorry, not after 1 mile, after 3 minutes, okay, after 3 minutes, Antonio is winning. Okay, after 6 minutes, right? After 6 minutes, it looks like Juan here, this black curve, when I slide over, is at 1.5 miles. And Antonio is still at 2 miles. Okay. Looks like we got a little flat spot here. Okay. At the 5-minute mark, Antonio's at 2 miles. At the 6-minute mark, Antonio's at 2 miles. Even almost to the 7-minute mark, Antonio's at 2 miles. Why is Antonio not going any farther? Okay, I don't know. Maybe he had a flat tire. Maybe he had to pee. Maybe he needed something to drink. I don't know. But from, what is that? From right here, okay, so I'm going to do that in green because that's Antonio. From here to here, Antonio doesn't move. So from minute 5 to minute 7, Antonio is stopped. He's not moving. Whoops. My pen quit writing here. All right, so from 5 minutes to 7, Antonio's not moving. And right there, at that 7-minute mark, Juan caught up to Antonio. All right, so let's put that in there. At 7 minutes, okay, now again, I'm going to bring this graph back here a little bit. We can see this is Juan, and at the 7-minute mark, Juan and Antonio are at exactly the same spot. And at the 8-minute mark now, Antonio's finally starting to move a little bit. We can see he's moving up a little bit, but Juan is winning. So at 7 minutes, Juan, whoops, go back to my pen here. Okay, so at this point, Juan is farther, and Juan ultimately wins the race. Okay, something happened to Antonio there. We're not sure what, but something happened to him that he had to slow down. He had to slow down in here. He wasn't moving, and he started moving again, but then it was too late because Juan had won. Okay, so next page. The figure below gives the depth of the water at Montauk Point, New York for a day in November. Okay, now we don't know what the depth of the water is. It's in feet. This graph does not tell us how deep it is. Okay, but it looks like my time here, okay, in hours, so 4 hours into the day, maybe 4 in the morning, I don't know, whenever 4 hours is, my water level, okay, so my water level drops from here down to there. Okay, so it's dropping. Then in between 4 and, I don't know, what would this be? This might be halfway between 8 and 12, maybe 10. Okay, let's assume that's hour 10. Okay, the depth of my water is up here. So my depth of my water has actually gone up. It's gone from here to here. Then my water goes down, then my water goes up, and then it goes down again. Okay, and again, I would say this spot right here is probably hour 22. Okay, when we talk about high tide, okay, a tide is the depth of the water. And you may have learned in science class that the moon, so we have the earth down here, and out here we have the moon, and the moon pulls water towards it, okay, because there's gravity on the moon. So the water on the earth actually kind of goes out towards the moon a little bit, and that's what this water is doing. It's going out to the moon, and then the moon goes away, and then the moon comes back again. All right, so how many high tides took place on this day? Which is the same thing as asking how many high points. Okay, and there's two of them. 1, 2. Okay, how many low tides? How many times was the water at the lowest point? So in hour 4 and at hour 10. Those are my, or hour 16, I'm sorry, that's a 16. How many low tides took place on this day? 2 of them. And I don't know if Ms. Morrell wants us to label when it happened, so we'd say at hour 4 and hour 16. Okay. How much time elapsed between high tides? All right, so I guess we have to answer the question, what does elapsed mean? All right, elapsed is how much time passed, or how long is in between high tides. Okay, well, if we remember, we've got hour 10 and hour 22. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the difference between hour 10 and 22? Okay, well, the difference means to subtract. So we're going to take 22 minus 10, and that equals 12 hours. Okay, so how much time elapsed between the two high tides? What's the difference between this time right here and that time right there? Well, this is hour 22, that's hour 10, and so the difference there is 12 hours. I like to circle my answers or underline my answers. We always know where our answers are, right? 2 low tides right there. How many high points? 2. Okay, that's interpreting graphs. Hey, have a great day.